Deliveries can be made to your home during curfew hours through the ECommerce National Delivery System ENDS program. ENDS will allow any business or vendor to connect to a number of delivery solutions to have their goods transported safely and securely to you. It's government at work, enabling business continuity and client accessibility to key services while we battle the pandemic. We are in this together. Let's remain COVID-19 resilient.
Government of Jamaica and the private sector have partnered to develop an e-commerce national delivery solution called ENDS. This is to enable business continuity during COVID-19 curfew hours. Any compliant business or vendor or taxi or bikeman or courier will be able to, once approved to operate during curfew hours, get the ENDS platform once qualified. ENDS will allow any business or vendor to connect to and leverage the island-wide network of delivery solutions to have their goods delivered safely and securely. Registering through ENDS is easy, inclusive, and equitable for all Jamaicans. Vendors without websites are able to sign up for free through e-commerce platforms like WeShops and those provided by banks, and is designed especially to ensure that the small man is included and not left out from making online sales during tightened curfew hours. Once the consumer successfully places an order via a card or top-up voucher, a message confirming the order is sent to the vendor and selected delivery company. For example, a pan chicken man in Portmore. Once the pan chicken man confirms the order, he selects the processing button, which changes the order status, triggering an email that is sent to the customer that states that his or her order is now being processed. When an order is placed, the driver will receive a notification that an order has been made. The notification will include directions to the vendor or established business and also directions to the customer. The driver collects the order, showing the pan chicken man proof via his confirmation notification. On arrival, the driver displays his order confirmation to the vendor as proof of payment. Once the driver departs, the vendor then hits delivered on the app, triggering a third update to the consumer, updating them that their order is on the way. In the event that the driver is stopped by the police as part of the driver's registration, that authorized driver would have received a QR code identifier, which will be recognized as his curfew passport. The police will be equipped with a QR code scanning app that will allow them to authenticate the driver's identity and curfew passport validity. The ENDS will ensure that even after curfew, consumers will be able to order essential goods such as food and medicine, while also ensuring that vendors and critical businesses can remain in service. ENDS, e-commerce national delivery solution.
Good day, I'm Stephen McHugh, and this is your JIS News for Monday, March 29, 2021. Both houses of Parliament have now approved legislation to implement a fixed penalty ticketing regime, among other measures, to strengthen the enforcement of COVID-19 protocols. After the lower house gave its assent on March 23, the Senate approved the Disaster Risk Management Amendment Act 2021 on Friday. Leader of Government Business in the Senate, Kamina Johnson-Smith, says that in addition to the fixed penalty ticketing regime, authorized officers will be empowered to enforce simple orders in the context of a disaster without having to first give a warning.
To be clear, it is not that an authorized person cannot warn if the circumstances warrant it, but the experience on the ground for our police has been that the obligation to warn has proved impractical for the purposes of not only encouraging compliance, but for prosecuting same, and accordingly are counter to the interests of promoting and securing Jamaica's health and well-being.
The bill specifies 10 levels or tiers of fixed penalties. These range from $3,000 for first-level offenses to $500,000 for offenses at the 10th level. There are 40 offenses specified that attract these fixed penalties. Senator Johnson-Smith says stronger enforcement measures have now become necessary as moral suasion has not worked to this point.
The reality is that people are dying. People are dying, the hospitals are full. It is important that we seek to enhance compliance to reduce the burden placed on them.
Jamaica has now administered nearly half of its first supplies of COVID-19 vaccine, with approximately 30,000 of its 64,000 doses given so far. Minister of Health and Wellness, Dr. Christopher Tufton, gave that update on Thursday after observing the COVID-19 vaccination process in Manchester and St. Elizabeth. While acknowledging a few kinks in the system, which continue to be sorted out, he commended public health officers for a seamless vaccination process to date. As it regards news of some vaccine-producing countries holding back shipments for export globally, the health minister admits there is likely to be some delays in receiving supplies, but says government is working to remedy any challenges.
We're cautiously optimistic, but it is more likely that we will see some delays than none at all. The chances of the market becoming a lot more available for vaccines are greatly enhanced, I think, over the next 2 to 3 months, because the countries that are now hoarding are holding back supplies from exports. I think it's a matter of time before they reach a particular point when, either because of vaccine hesitancy, people not taking it, or them exhausting the population that they're targeting, there will be vaccines available for the rest of the world.
Dr. Tufton says it should also be noted that other vaccines are coming on the market in short order.
The WHO are looking at Chinese vaccines, the Sputnik out of Russia, other vaccines. 83 vaccines are under clinical trials now. So I do believe that with every month, you will see more coming on the market, greater production, and more availability.
For now, Jamaica is expecting another shipment of 26,000 doses in early April. But the health minister says it remains most critical for Jamaicans to maintain the COVID-19 safety protocols.
Because frankly speaking, even if we had vaccines now, you wouldn't benefit from the type of herd immunity that we desire as a country. So it is so important that the country recognizes that we have to continue managing the way we have managed over the last year, with the protocols being observed and any other restrictions that the government would have put in place.
Another 50,000 Jamaicans are to benefit from cash grants under government's COVID-19 Allocation of Resources for Employees CARE program in the 2021-2022 fiscal year. Minister without portfolio in the Ministry of Economic Growth and Job Creation, Senator Aubin Hill, says the money is to be provided through the $60 billion Social and Economic Recovery and Vaccine Program for Jamaica, SERVE.
The SERVE fund has $3 billion in it for the continuation of the CARE program and the set cash unemployment support grants that support those who earned below the income tax threshold and have been unemployed as a result of the COVID-19 pandemic from all sectors. And the CARE program's best cash grants that support tourism employment for the quarter April to June 2021.
Senator Hill was piloting the Appropriations Bill 2021 during last Friday's sitting of the Senate. The bill was passed by the Upper House, giving approval for government's estimated expenditure of $830.8 billion for the 2021-2022 financial year. Since its implementation in April last year, approximately 435,000 Jamaicans have benefited under the overall CARE program, which was established to cushion the economic fallout from the pandemic. Individuals can expect to see reduced operations from the Jamaica Urban Transit Company, JUTC, during the coming Easter weekend and the remaining lockdown periods. JUTC's Corporate Communication Manager, Cecil Toms, says the decision follows government's recent adjustments to the curfew hours to help reduce the spread of COVID-19. He says the company will provide service for essential and frontline staff during those periods and continue providing normal service from 5 a.m. to 8 p.m. on weekdays. Commuters can view the schedules on the JUTC's website at jutc.gov.jm and on its social media pages. Persons may also call JUTC's customer care team at 888-588-2287. And finally, the Ministry of Justice is calling for more persons to volunteer as mentors under its National Child Diversion Program. National Child Diversion Consultant Ruth Carey says there are just over 420 mentors in the program, which amounts to 30 per parish.
In terms of having persons volunteer, of course, we need more mentors. I still have to put a call out for mentors, especially or primarily males. We need more volunteers who are males to apply as mentors to the child diversion program, because our largest group of children which we receive to the office are males between the age of 15 to 17 years. We do have males in the program who are 18 to 19, 18 to 20 in some cases.
Ms. Carey was speaking at a recent JIS think tank. Mentors under the National Child Diversion Program are expected to assist in the rehabilitation process by providing support through guidance and supervision to the children. And that's it for JIS News Today. I'm Stephen McHugh. Thanks for watching.
Watch as we highlight the growth-inducing projects that will be the focus of the budget of the Ministry of Housing, Urban Renewal, Environment and Climate Change.
Conservation, protection and management of Jamaica's biodiversity, environment and natural resources, accelerated house and land distribution, and implementation of community-based climate resilience programs. Just some of the projects being targeted in the newly formed Ministry of Housing, Urban Renewal, Environment and Climate Change, MHUREC. The details of the priority areas in financial year 2021 to 2022 are next.
As a country, we are aggressively advancing the programs that will allow for us not only to meet our international obligations, but more importantly, to ensure that we implement and introduce the programs in our local policies and operation that will ensure that Jamaica continues its leadership in the advancement of the climate change agenda.
With a $2.2 billion budget, MHUREC will be advancing Jamaica's vision of first world status by the year 2030. $270 million of the funds will be supplied by the Real Estate Board, the Commission of Strata Corporations, and the National Meteorological Service. To support the island's agenda, $86.76 million will be spent on Jamaica's voluntary contributions to various regional and international bodies. $524.63 million will go towards the regulation of the housing industry, mitigating infrastructural works, as well as the orderly development of land. Additionally, $89.56 million will be used to pay for the enterprise license agreement with the Environmental Systems Research Institute.
This is what we define as moving Jamaica towards becoming a more sustainable and resilient country.
Land titling and housing development will be accelerated this year. In addition to issuing more land titles, the Ministry's housing arm, the Housing Agency of Jamaica, will be spending $2.69 billion on projects in the year. Among them, Rhine Park in St. James, as well as Catherine Estates and Shooters Hill in St. Catherine. And the Jamaica Mortgage Bank will provide support to 162 housing developments in the year. The bank will prioritize the addition of at least one new mortgage granting institution to the number of approved lenders under its mortgage indemnity insurance program. $180 million is expected to indemnify 150 new undertakings. Complementing this drive is the $760 million to be spent on land management, infrastructure, and physical development. Included in the works are upgrading of the communities of Pemberton Valley St. Thomas, Gibraltar St. Anne, and Orocabessa St. Mary. Funds will also be disbursed to restore and develop infrastructure in at-risk communities, beautify communities by replacing zinc fencing, facilitate social housing initiatives, as well as identify lands for future housing developments.
The ministry will be establishing a multi-stakeholder task force to support and advance our development agenda and to ensure that climate change adaptation efforts are sustainable.
$258.96 million of the ministry's budget will support the Meteorological, Weather and Climate Services divisions. A mix of state and donor funds will bolster the $244.93 million pilot program for climate resilience adaptation program and financing mechanism. Targets for the upcoming year include installing 250 rainwater harvesting systems, conducting vulnerability assessments in 5 sectors, as well as the construction of 205 microcheck dams in the Upper Rio Mino area. International organization Green Climate Fund has pledged $65 million to support the island's readiness program. The initiative will, among other things, establish a Vision 2030 gender thematic working group, develop a strategy for reducing emissions from deforestation and forest degradation, and complete a green bond market assessment and roadmap.
If we come together and partner with purpose, there's nothing that we can't overcome.
The foundation has been set, and the Ministry of Housing, Urban Renewal, Environment and Climate Change will execute projects that will lead to the creation of an inclusive, sustainable, and resilient Jamaica.
Agriculture and fisheries is big business. Get formalized this year. Be among 100 farmers and fisheries producers who will benefit from a developmental project funded by the International Labour Organization and implemented by the Government of Jamaica. Whether you're male or female, we want to help you. Young farmers, there's a special place for you too. Apply at any RADA or JBDC office island-wide and jbdc.net. Deadline March 22. Agriculture and fisheries is big business.
The National Tree Planting Initiative has been revamped. Join the campaign by nurturing a tree of your own. Find out how next.
Trees are often considered the lungs of the earth. As part of their life cycle, they take in carbon dioxide and release oxygen into the atmosphere. Let's all continue this necessary part of keeping our planet healthy by planting more trees. And here's how you do it. First things first, decide what tree you will be planting. Is it one that will provide timber? Shade? Will it beautify your space or will you be eating its fruits? Once that's settled, you need to consider what kind of conditions it would need to grow. Naturally, some plants do better in some areas than others, while others need full exposure to sunlight versus those that can survive without direct light. And there's also the soil type to consider. Some trees thrive near seasides. Others prefer mountain areas, while certain trees are content in the valleys. Next up, space. Some trees grow wide, others tall. While you may be able to prune trees to keep them under control, some lose their essence when tamed. So, be sure to plant large trees in areas where they will have adequate space to grow. If you have a smaller space, consider growing a smaller tree that requires less pruning to keep it in check. Then there's the matter of your fully grown tree posing a threat to nearby structures. As a country situated in the hurricane belt, downed trees during times of disaster is a part of our reality. There's also the pesky issue of trees which shed their leaves profusely, and others with copious amounts of flowers and fruits, which might just be the cause of a dispute with your neighbor if planted near the fence. That being said, be sure to plant trees at a safe distance from walls, power lines, fences, sidewalks, and the very foundation of your house. Once you've considered all those tips, it's time to plant.
First step is to dig a hole, right? Not too deep, about a foot and a half, not too wide either, because you're not burying the plants. You're trying to provide a nice area for it to grow. right? Upon digging your hole, if you notice that the soil type is clay, that is the kind of coarse soil type, you probably need topsoil, right? Because when you're putting back the soil, it's going to be a challenge for you. But after that, you dampen the soil, ensure that it's moist, provide a moist area or environment for the plant to be planted in. Ensure the plant is in the center of the hole. If you dig the hole a bit too deep, there's a process known as backfilling, right? That's when you put back the dirt into the soil to a certain height that is much favorable for you and for the plant. After you do that, you want to dampen the soil, right? Ensure the plant is in the center, because you end up having a plant to grow lean or to the side, because plants grow into the direction of the sunlight. Ensure that the soil goes up to the root collar. Now the root collar is where the stem and the root of the plant or the root plug meet, right? You don't want to go above that. Once you do finish that, you water it, then you stake it. When I say stake, you take either a bamboo stake or a regular stake, put a flagging tape beside onto it and put it beside the plant. That is you marking the plant. So once you're doing any maintenance, you yourself or any other individual in the area can know that, hey, there's something planted there, so you don't end up wasting your effort and time when planting. The most important thing is watering after and nurturing the plants. So you water early mornings and late evenings. If you water in between those times, especially in the afternoons, the plant will end up struggling with the intake of the water, right? Because the sun is going to be evaporating at the same time it's trying to take in the nutrients. You can also mulch, fertilize, or add kaya dust or sawdust to the mound to lock in moisture for the plant.
And there you have it, a step-by-step demonstration of how to plant a tree. Call 876-618-3205 or visit 173 Constant Spring Road to get your plant seedlings. Happy planting!
We work to make communities safer by essentially looking at the structures in the community that contribute greatest to social capital building. Try to reinforce, build, and establish those structures in a way that the community can sustain their own safety and own their own peace. When we say, for instance, we're doing a zinc fence removal program, what we're really doing is improving the line of sight. If you're on the street and you can see better what is behind the fences, then as you walk along the street or children play and etc., you're able to contribute to crime prevention. We believe in terms of our mandate and our responsibility that by making communities safer, we can make Jamaica safer.
As we gear up to spend more time at home, find out how you can maximize your time while keeping safe.
Hi there, thanks for joining us. I know, like myself, some of you are working from home. As you can see, I've turned my dinner table into a makeshift office, and I always have my trusty hand sanitizer with me. It's finished, so we're going to make homemade hand sanitizer. We have a 4-ingredient hand sanitizer. The most important ingredient is alcohol, and it has to be 62% volume or above, and aloe vera. And we have vitamin E oil and an essential oil, just to make it smell nice. So follow me into the kitchen. First things first is to turn our aloe vera leaf into aloe vera gel. It's not going to have the same consistency as the aloe vera gel that you'd buy in the store, but I trust this over store-bought because you don't know what they put in it. So first things first, wash it, and then we put it in our blender. to smoothen it out. What we're aiming for is a 1/3 cup of aloe vera gel / juice and 2/3 cup of alcohol. We're doing it 2 to 1 because the most important ingredient is the alcohol. Now that we've blended our aloe vera, we're going to put a 1/3 cup of the aloe. Wow, my measurement is on point, man. Whoa, just right. But as I said, the main and most important ingredient is this right here, the alcohol. We're going to use 2/3 cup of alcohol to a 1/3 cup of the aloe vera. I have here my measuring cup and I'm going to pour 2/3 of the rubbing alcohol into the cup. And I'm going to add a 1/3 of the aloe vera gel. For some persons, this will do, but for me, I want to add some vitamin E oil, so as to give a little more softness for the hands. So I'm going to put 2 to 3 drops of it, so it's thick. As I said, this is optional, or you could use glycerin if you have it at home. Then the next one is the essential oil. I chose tangerine because I like that smell. And I'm going to add maybe 6 to 8 drops. And it's purely for cosmetic purposes. It doesn't add anything. As long as you have the rubbing alcohol, you should be good. Then I will just mix them together. In a clean container, after you mix the ingredients together, you pour. Now that we've made our homemade hand sanitizer, the only thing left to do is to try it out. Very moisturizing. Wow. It's very strong too. Smells a lot like the alcohol with a tinge of the tangerine. So you can try it out right there in the comfort of your home.
And that's all the time we have left here on the station. We return tomorrow around about the same time. If you've missed aspects of today's show, watch it all over again online on our website or YouTube channel. Keep up to date on all the major happenings in Jamaica land we love by connecting with us through our various social media pages or mobile app. On behalf of the entire team here at the GIS, I am Adrian Atkinson. Thanks for watching.
This has been a production of the Jamaica Information Service, the voice of Jamaica.